Alright guys, so AI can create complex shots like this one in seconds. And honestly, if you don't look close, then it can trick you and look amazing. So I just wanted to test this one properly. And by the way, I've been working in CGI for over 10 years, real productions, real clients, and I just wanted to see, can AI hold up in such a workflow? Because the thing is, if you ever worked in advertising, you know it's never about the first result, it's about control, details, and endless client changes. So I would say let's just have a closer look at some of those results and see if this would hold up in a real client project. And I will also show you where I think that AI is already useful in production. So come on, let's dive in and have some fun. Alright, and as you probably know, when you want to go into video generation, then it is a good idea to start with a start frame. This is what I'm doing here. So I started with this reference image of my product, but then I tried to explore different ideas. I did this one with Nana Banana 2. You can see that some of them work better than others. Some might be a little bit generic, but this will always happen. When you use these tools, they try to push you into a safety zone. They kind of like to average things out and know what is safe, what will work, what will be a good result. So sometimes, yeah, you just have to push it further into some more interesting territory. That is what I'm trying to do here with these miniature landscapes, like some temples or some Indiana Jones feeling scenes from a movie. Okay, so yeah, I try to get a little bit more creative here. But as I said, you have to actively force the AI to get you into this creative territory. Otherwise, you would just tend to get average results and something that is more safe. But yeah, some of those ones I actually liked. So it is very important that your starting frame is already looking nice and will give you something that you are excited about. I think that these ones, for example, they look quite nice, and I just wanted to see especially these ones in motion. I was interested if the AI can move these animals and the cranes and the people and all of that in just one prompt. So yeah, I was especially excited about these miniature landscapes. And now you can see here, these ones, these are my results, each with the prompt that I used. Maybe just very quickly we can talk about the prompt structure. So you want to work with your start frame that you like, and then you kind of need a simple cinematic prompt structure where you just have the essentials in it that you then put into your prompt. I'll try to work with longer prompts which are a little bit more descriptive, but at the same time I also tested some which are more short. Okay, so we can also talk about this one probably in another tutorial, where is the sweet spot for the exact prompt length. But I would say, come on, now we just want to dissect these results and just want to go into critical mode. Let's review now these results. Alright guys, so I think the best idea would be that I will just show those results one more time while I talk a little bit about it and share some ideas with you, some thoughts that I lately have about AI and 3D. Yeah, the thing is that already my clients, they push AI into the pipeline. That's just a reality, okay? So we have to face this one. But the thing is, we use AI just for the ideation, for the style frames, just to get the initial direction of a project right. Okay, so I mean, this is a crazy shortcut that you can generate those images with some knowledge about prompting and art direction. You can get some quite stunning still frames, and nobody is telling you that you then have to use AI video generators to go the next step. But you can, of course, as most of my clients do it, and the projects that I work in, we use it just to get all of those ideas into an image to then push the project further. So this is already the reality for the projects that I work on. But for example, we then don't go the step like we are doing it here to then put it into a video generator, because for the clients and the projects that I work, the details, they just matter. Okay, so for example, something like this one, this will just not be acceptable. It just looks smudgy and it doesn't make any sense. Also, the problem with such detailed shots is that, for example, look at all of the people, how they move. Let's just focus on this one, for example, okay? So you can definitely see that he is just morphing and glitching from one state to the next. In terms of complexity, this is just an overload, at least for the video generators right now. I'm using Kling 3.0. Maybe this one will change with Seedance 2.0, but I honestly doubt it. For example, something like this one would also be not acceptable, that this one is just going into the shoe. It just doesn't make any sense. Also, for example, when I just look at this one, then for example, the smoke over here, it's just emitting basically from a little hole. Let me just see this one. Okay, so the simulation, we definitely would also do this one differently. I think there's a smoke over there is doing the same. So it looks like that at a certain point, the smoke is just coming out of this hole here. I think that I also talked about the sparks, or did I? So yeah, this one also doesn't look good. And also the thing is, even when you are very descriptive with how the camera should move, there is no way that you can put this one into words and it is doing exactly what you want to do it. So especially for camera moves right now, this one also doesn't make any sense to have such a workflow. I think the next step in the evolution will be that you as a 3D artist, you are just in such a good position, because I think that 3D and AI will come closer and closer together, and you just need this kind of interface, like the real interaction, how you would do it in a 3D software in your viewport rendering. So I think it's just not the logical next step to still put camera movements into descriptive words and try to say, oh, we have a close-up over here. Now we do an orbit camera with a focus on your product and it's spinning around and doing a dolly move, whatever, okay? So even when you are very descriptive with it, you just can't put this one into words. So it's just the next logical step that AI and 3D will come just more and more closer together. And this is why I think that as a designer who already knows how to judge images on their visual quality, so this is also something very important, right? People who just don't really have developed the good taste over years in practice, they just really have problems to judge an image on if this one is working for your project or not. I'm just thinking, when you already developed some good taste and you know something about design and 3D, I think that right now you are maybe in a very, very good position, because those tools, I think they will come closer and closer together. You need some real interaction with your AI, otherwise it's just a gambling game. And of course right now I know that a lot of clients, especially more on the low and the medium level of value, they try to get away with complete AI generated images. Yeah man, what do I want to say here? What I want to say maybe is that this one doesn't make any sense, okay? What is he doing? All right, so he is putting this box out of the shoe. All right, now he's levitating upwards. Stuff like this one will, I think even for the next years, I think that stuff like this is just barely controllable with just a prompt, and you still need to have some designer, someone who is interacting with the scene, designing the camera movement, which is so important to guide and operate the camera correctly, to also change the lighting based on good taste. So I think that when in 3D you develop the good taste and good feeling for lighting, you are also just in a very good position right now. What I can say is that this smoke simulation here, for example, doesn't make any sense, but at the same time I'm also then kind of overwhelmed that there is some logical understanding of the environment and the scene. So this one, even though that this piece up there doesn't make any sense, the placement, it knows that there is a surface, so it's putting it onto it. From a logical standpoint, this just doesn't make any sense. So in a project like this one, when you would have a budget to really build such a shot, then of course you can do exactly what you have in mind. From a storytelling standpoint, for example, it wouldn't make any sense to just put a stone up there. It would make more sense if they will construct the logo here. Maybe they would just place it there. Yeah, but at the same time, I just wanted to say I'm also impressed that there is some logical movement from the wind. I mean, this one is going kind of crazy over there, maybe a little bit too much, but then look at this one. I think how the smoke is in the scene, it's kind of impressive. This is kind of impressive. Okay, this one is kind of crazy. So I don't know what is happening down there. The people, they should fly away like crazy, but it seems that they are kind of resistant to the shockwave over there. Also, let's not talk about that this construction of the shoe. It doesn't make sense. I know that, okay? It's just more like a testing pipeline I'm going through right now. I can see all of the downsides and all of the shortcuts, which lead right now to more sloppy results. And I mean, you can see this one over there. This one will barely be usable for any shot. I think it's just a better idea to just really build this one, especially if you have some understanding of 3D, maybe Cinema 4D, whatever you want to use for something like this one. But to prompt this growth exactly how you want to have it, I think that this one would be just so much easier to build it in 3D. just look at this one here. The growth pattern, I think that this is just not nice that it's coming over here and there. I would let this one grow more organically from one side, maybe then with a little bit time offset from another side. But yeah, with prompting, you will definitely not have the precision and the control that you will have when you build it in 3D. Let's see this one here. All right, so the truth is I would not be able to build this one in Cinema 4D. This is just out of my scope in terms of complexity with the people and the movement. I'm just not an animator for people, so I would have to work with somebody else together. But then also to get the realism and the complexity in the scene, also with the cars and all of that kind of stuff, this would be just a very intensive shot to build this one. I know exactly why clients try to take shortcuts right now with stuff like this. Then on the other side, they are completely failing with this simulation here. I just wanted to have something MoGraphy, something with a little bit of a taste from Houdini, with some beautiful tendril and particle simulation, but it just gave me some random ugly results, let's be honest here. So this one is definitely underwhelming, but then, oh man, let's just see this one here. Here I have to be honest that the simulation, this is super impressive, that it just reacts completely natural to the volume of your shoe. So this one is going around it and then up as it should. So I think that this one, I'm not sure if I could do a better simulation, especially with Cinema 4D, which is kind of okay with pyro simulations, but there are definitely better tools. And yeah, I mean, I could do this one in real time with EmberGen probably. So EmberGen would be a good simulation tool for this, just to do this one really fast. And I could get similar results for sure, because EmberGen is just super powerful. And of course, you could also do it with Houdini, but let's not talk about that. Yeah, what I want to say here is that those results, smoke and fire, are quite impressive. Also this one with the slime and with the tendrils. Yeah, I mean, just look at this one here over there. It's kind of morphing and glitching. Just look at this one here, for example. So yeah, it's kind of strange, but I think that, man, this is just getting better and better, and already it's kind of looking interesting. But I can also see that most of this one is just not usable for the clients that I work with, because I need more control. I also need actually better results in terms of consistency and storytelling. Let me just say that right now I'm a little bit confused about how I should really put AI into my pipeline, because at this point it's just usable for me for style frames, storytelling, getting the ideas right, but then I'm still lacking all of the control, all of the precision when I would try to prompt this one as a video generation. So for my clients, this is just right now not really working, but I'm super curious about what you think, how your experience right now are in the industry. And honestly, maybe you are making some completely different experiences right now. I can also understand, by the way, if you hate AI, okay? So I can already see some comments, but please, hey man, I'm not an AI fanboy. I just try to find good solutions for us in the future as 3D artists. I just want to let us stay competitive and stay, yeah, just on top of the game, or how you would say that. So yeah, just try to find opportunities where AI implementation in my 3D workflows with clients makes real sense. And by the way, if you found this one interesting or useful, or you are just interested in 3D design and also in combination with AI nowadays, then you can leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell, do the good stuff, write a comment, okay? So yeah, maybe we will go a little bit of this journey together this year. All right, so thank you so much for your time. See you next time. Bye everyone.